All right, what's up everybody? Welcome back. So if you watched the last video, we did a quick walkthrough of the new buildings. We're in the finish shop right now. Everything's still pretty much like it was. We've got stuff all out in the shop. Well, that's what we're working on today. We're going to try to see if we can move some of this stuff into the next shop so we can start trying to get some of the stuff from our old shop over here. All the cars, all the tools, everything's got to come this way. We've also got the AC blowing today. Feels good in here, doesn't it, JB? Yeah. Got JB in here helping us out today. So here's a little more story on this shop. This shop, the building we're in right now, this was already here on the property. So we've just went through and we've tried to make it better, which we showed painting the floors, paneling the walls. We've got the new LED lights. We've got the lift over there. Offices are almost done. So now what we've been doing is working on this shop in here. So in order to be able to move all this stuff we have in the middle, which is just random tools, some metal tables. We've got our welders and stuff that are all ready to go over there. We need to finish paneling in here. All right, and that's what me and JB have been working on today. We've got some of this paneling done on these walls. We've got to cut some pieces just to get those in the sections that aren't done yet, and we've made it to the back wall. We're gonna try to get all the way around. Turn it up. What kind of dance is that? All right. Back. Okay. Lift it up some more. A little more. Where we can see, there you go.
That'll make it fast.
Pretty much it. Not fast enough for you?
No. That'll make it down harder.
That's it.
Why is it so hard?
Give it a good one. Come on, you can do it.
I've never done this before.
Pull it to where you, hang on. Instead of just jerking it, pull it out to where you feel pressure on it. And then pull. Oh. Now pull. Pull it hard. Oh, you're so close. Oh, you almost got it. Come on. You can get it. I got to give him credit on that. He's going to have a sore arm tomorrow. He probably did that for about 20 minutes. He doesn't give up easy. Like you've done this before or something. bad for a just turned 7-year-old. By the time I get a panel done, he's already wondering why I haven't moved that one off the stack yet. So we're putting up these corrugated pieces of fiberglass. That's what we've been running around this whole shop. That's what's in the finish shop. We've had these laying around for years. They've been outside, so that's why we're having to clean them all up. They've just gotten stained from sitting out there. This is also a fire retardant product, so that's really good for a lot of what we do. We don't do a lot of MIG welding anymore. We just mainly do TIG, so we're not throwing sparks with that, but we're still cutting and stuff a lot. So if anything, we'll seal the bottoms of these, and we know we're pretty well protected with that if we do end up throwing anything into the wall. So we're in the upholstery section right now. This is where the sewing machine is going to go. And if you watched the last video, this is kind of the tool room. We're waiting on that pegboard material to get here. I think we're gonna do those metal ones. Those are really cool. So it's looking good so far. We're gonna see if we can get the rest of this finished up. We've got bigger pieces that are going in this section and that section down on the other end. So I've got one more to do here before we cut some of these shorter strips that are on the ends of each section. And then the next thing we're gonna do, hopefully we can get to today, is I'm gonna build just that small wall right here, about a 3.5 foot wall where we're gonna dock some of our welders. You got that one ready? I told you, I can't keep up with it. All right, let's see if we can get these up. So a quick break because I've been summoned to put gas in the dirt bike. So this happens about, what, every hour? Probably. Because you keep running them out of gas. That's where I just keep the gas jug in the UTV.
Gas thing so you never have to refill it.
I think we're topping it off. I think somebody's putting about 100 miles a day on that thing. Nope, you're dry.
Yeah, Quinn.
You got no bedroom? That's fine.
See you later, alligator. Oh, she's just trying to go down there with Mom.
There's no telling how many miles that little dirt bike has on it. I bet it's almost a full-time job just to keep their dirt bikes going. I seem to have lost my help. He decided he was gonna go make his own YouTube video hitting golf balls in the yard, so good for him. All right, so I've got the short wall all done. Everything behind me all the way around is done with the exception of a couple of small pieces. So we're gonna move on to the tall section. That's about, I think those are about 13 feet tall where we have those. So I'm washing those now. Let's see if we can get these up. So on that last one, we got a couple braces running across. We're gonna make a few cuts with just the cutoff wheel, so we can fit that one up there. One thing I didn't mention, we were saying that finish shop in there, that was already there. So what we're in right now that's going to be the clean metal / upholstery on the other side is this was the overhang to that building. So I guess the guy that owned this place before had big trucks, gravel trucks and stuff, and he parked his trucks under here. So what we did was we closed this all in. So if we flip over to this section, this is all new where we added on to this, and obviously where the body shop's gonna be right out the door, that's all new. So none of this concrete was here. We had all this poured. It's not, the guys I had do this, it didn't turn out quite like I wanted. It's already cracking and doing stuff, and over there is absolutely perfect. So I'm regretting I didn't have those guys over there do this in here, but oh well, it's already here. We're gonna work with it, and it was twice as much to do what we did in here too. So that tells you anything. You just, what do you do? So all right, let's get this other one cut. Things where after you cut it, you might want to go in the house and take a shower before you go anywhere, because you start doing some of this, next thing you know, people think you're fiending. You come home to an intervention, you just showered. Piece, I didn't want to take this brace off, so I made this last piece in 2 pieces because it's too tall to try to snake it up through there. The problem that we've ran into is we've got a little bit of a gap right there. So we could go grab another piece and cut it, but then we're really just wasting a piece, so there's no sense in doing that. I want to be able to save all that material I can, so we've got this little strip that we cut off from one of the other pieces. That can go right there, act as just a little trim piece, and once you get it screwed up, you can't even hardly see us there. So we'll do that in order to not have to waste any material. Okay, so walls are done, with the exception of there's still a couple that have just few little small spots to do, but my dad does this stuff for a living, so he's able to get and cut all this fiberglass, and he's got a machine that can make super accurate cuts and also make it to where if your corrugation doesn't quite line up, they can cut it to where it will. So I'm going to let them cut those end pieces. The only other wall that we would have is this wall on the end, and I've got another idea for that wall, so I'm going to think about that for a minute before we get to that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to build this little wall for the docking station for the welders that's going to go in between these 2 wood posts. Now, when they built the body shop side and this overhang, it had a lot of 2x6s left over. So I've got a huge stack of them out there, and I don't really use 2x6s for a whole lot around here for anything. And seeing that these posts are 6x6 posts, we're going to build this little 3.5 foot wall out of those. and then we'll take some of this fiberglass and panel the fronts of that. So let's get on to that. Oh man, did we run out of fuel? I guess we ran out of fuel. Dadgum. It's always right in the middle of something, you know it? So now we gotta go get a UTV, ride down to the store, grab some diesel. Story of my life. At least I hope we ran out of fuel. Fuel gauge hasn't worked on this thing since I bought it. I don't know, maybe we just found some fuel. Found some fuel in the bottom of the tank, I guess. That was weird. Lots of leftover goodies. We'll use these. Okay, so we've got a couple of 2x6s that are spacing us out from our anchors. So we're going to start making some cuts. We're going to build it roughly 3 feet tall. See if we can get this thing together. up for the welders. I've got to put something on the top of that, but I don't have anything here to do it with, so I've got to run to the hardware store. But we can start moving welders in here for now. I'm going to use this post probably for hanging welding helmets and some stuff like that. We do have some metal tools here that we can line this wall with. Since this is going to be the metal side, I have a ton of tools at the shop we've got to bring over. But let's go ahead and start getting everything out of there, over in here. Start trying to get this finished out. Ooh, it feels good in here. Oh, wow. So spent a little time moving some stuff in here. We got a couple of the metal tools in, a couple of the Woodward Fab pieces up against the wall. We got our Maxi, the dit fix over here. We've got a couple of the Lincoln welders. I think there's 4 or 5 more of the Lincolns that are gonna be coming, so they'll go right there. We've got our big bead roller coming. We've got 2 brakes that are gonna be on this wall. We've got a couple of English wheels, so we've got a lot more that's going to line this, but at least we've got everything out of the finish shop. Here's the last thing I'm going to try to do for today because I'm tired. All right, so the last thing I plan to do today, I brought the sewing machine from the other shop, a couple of the upholstery things. We're going to move the sewing machine into what's going to be our little sewing room. I've still got to do a little bit to the walls, but I'm gonna move the machine in here and build an upholstery table. Basically what we're doing is we're gonna set the machine up kind of where we know we're comfortable with it. And then as you're sewing, you have runoff where your leather's kind of running off your table. So we build a table that butts up to the sewing machine where your runoff kind of just follows through and you're not getting any pull off your material. Also, what that's gonna double as when we're doing headliners or door panels or any sort of panel, that's gonna be the table that we're gonna do it on. So we're going to build it big enough to be able to do that and to kind of sink our sewing machine into it. So I'm going to start pulling some measurements, try to figure out what we want to do. We do still have that big pile of 2x6s out there. I want it to be a pretty heavy duty table, so I guess we'll do it out of those. That way we don't have to go spend any more money. But yeah, let's pull some measurements, see what we can get. So we've got our sewing machine where I think it's going to stay. We're a couple of feet off of that wall. So when we build this table, we're going to build it kind of like an L shape. That way, whenever we're sewing wider material, seat covers or anything, and we don't want it to overhang off this side of the table either. It just pulls a drag on it and makes it where it's hard to get a good, straight, accurate stitch. So we're going to kick that L out over there for the overhang. And then one thing I didn't notice on my sewing machine, I don't know if you can see it right there, there's a slight bow in the top now, which kind of sucks. What we're going to do when we build this, we're going to build the table slightly lower than the surface of the machine. That way when we have the runoff, it'll just run down onto the table. And as opposed to if it were a little higher, the material would run into the table and it'll bunch up and that'd cause a problem, you know, mess you up on your stitching and stuff. But I also have a new HUGE sewing machine. They're the same height. I plan to eventually swap to that one. I just haven't used it yet. So I'll probably swap out the two. We're gonna go 8 feet your way. That should leave plenty of room to work there. And then it leaves me about 3.5 feet of working space to this wall. Now, the way that I've built this, I'll be able to move this wall. The plan is if we start downsizing some cars and we don't have so many, I'm gonna move this wall out probably about another 4 feet. So I'm building the table to what I expect I'm gonna do down the road. So all we've got to do now is build it. I guess let's build it. Couple hours later and she's done. Man, this is going to be a really awesome upholstery table. So I built this with just materials that we had laying around. The 2x6s were from out back from when we built the other building. The MDF was laying around. So I just pieced it all together and used that. Really heavy duty, especially the 3/4 inch MDF up top. I love this because it's really smooth. Makes it easy for when you're working with the materials. Now the reason I made it so big, 6 feet to the wall, it's not like I can stretch out and use the whole thing, but if you're using a roll of vinyl is normally 54 inches, so right there's 54. The problem I've had with some of the 4-foot tables that I've had is you go to roll your material out and you're kind of overhanging the table, and then leather hides are really big too, so we can lay out an entire hide on this. This should make it a lot better for me. We've got our sewing machine kind of sunk into the table. We've got the little overhang of the machine over there when we've got material hanging off while we sew. We've got plenty of storage down low. I'll probably end up putting a bottom on this. We'll store some materials in here. We'll hang our threads on the pegboard. We'll hang foam outside where we can just pull it off the wheel. So turned out really good. Didn't cost us anything. So I'm gonna end this thing. Thank you guys for watching. We got a lot done this week, so we'll move on to the next week. Paint booth will be here Monday.